Here I am once again. Here I am once again. This is going to be a special shout out video for a fellow Canadian. I got an email a few months back. His name is John Hansen. He lives in Lindsay, Ontario. He emailed me, asked me if I could carve a rose on a piece of wood. So this is a 2D carving. Why I'm doing this shout out video and doing this video for him, because he told me his story. He's retired now, but he is a woodworker, not a wood carver, but he works at, he donates his time to a brain injury association of Peterborough. I guess that would be in Ontario. So he helps people with brain injuries. And all of you know that I have a brain injury. So, TBI. So he asked me if I could carve this rose because he's never really done any wood carving with a Dremel. What I got here is a Dremel 4000 with the Dremel flexshaft, okay? So, John, you're going to need a Dremel with the flex. Doesn't have to be the 4000, but you should have a flexshaft that makes it so you're like, it's like holding a pen when you're carving. It's a lot easier than holding the Dremel itself. So, let's get started here. I'm going to show you guys what I do to get this picture off the internet, okay? So what I did is a screen recording here. It's not going to be a landscape. It's just going to be a thin little bar, but I'll do that. I did a screen recording and I showed you how I did it. And don't pay attention to my dirty hands. It's paint. Okay, so after I took the screenshot, I resized it. Then I sent it to my email and I printed it off on my printer. It's easy as that. This is a piece of Western red cedar. Any kind of wood you got will work. What I like to do when I'm transferring a picture tracing onto the wood, I like to sand the wood nice and smooth so you get a nice clean lines and there's no dips when you got you got a ballpoint pen or a pencil. There's no dips in there and it just makes it go a lot smoother. This is transfer paper. I got off Amazon. Just Google Amazon transfer paper. You'll get this. It was pretty cheap. So what I do is I'm going to cut this picture with some scissors, make it a bit thinner. You know, you can mark a center line on here. You like measure how big the board is with a tape measure, put your center line on. Then you could line this up with the center line, but I don't think we need to do that. Okay, you can see I got the image on the board that this is carbon transfer paper underneath, okay? So it'll leave a mark on the wood. I'm going to label this video very beginners wood carving because it's going to be a very beginners and video, and everything I say in this video is 100% my opinion. So I'm going to use this red pen because then I can see it on the black lines, because there's lots of lines to put in here and you want to make sure that you get them all. And another thing too about this leaf here and this leaf, when you carve this, that's going to be a pretty thin stalk to carve. So I don't know if I'm going to use this leaf, and I might just draw on another leaf after. So I'm not going to use this leaf, this one, or this one. Okay, so let's start off with the stalk. And I don't think I'm going to do those little thorns either. Get some better lighting here with no shadows. So I'm not using that leaf. I am going to use this leaf. Trust me, if you're not a very good drawer like I am, doing this really helps. See, I can't tell if I think I already went over that line. So how about I get this all transferred on here? And I'll take this off and I'll be back. Okay, so it's all on there. See how the red really sticks out, so I can see I've done all the lines. And all you do is just pull this off. You can reuse this transfer paper too. I'm not going to reuse it though, because I got like 500 sheets of this stuff. So see how it transferred onto the wood? So now the next step. Oh, another thing I do suggest too is keep an extra picture, like print 2 copies off. So then I can put this on the back wall up here. So when I'm carving it, and if I'm kind of confused of what's going on here with the lines, I can always reference back to this picture and see what's happening. Now I got to figure out a type of the burr that I want to use with the Dremel 4000 flex shaft. All right, if you're a very beginning wood carver, there's so many different types of burrs you can use. There's Kutzalls. These are my favorite burrs. I'm affiliated with them. You know, there's so many different styles and shapes and stuff like that. To get these Kutzalls, go to the description below. It will take you to the Kutzall site. Use the code CFusion and it will save yourself 5%. So here's my favorite burr. This is the Kutzall Extreme Flame Burr, but I'm not too sure if we're going to be using this one today. We might use it to remove some wood back here. These are also in my Amazon store. These are like the cheap Chinese cutters. 3 cutters. See it there? There's 3 cutters on there. Flutes or whatever they're called. I think these burrs are good for, like, pretend if you're doing knife carving and you need to put a deep line in there and then remove wood. These are good for stops and starts. So I think with this burr here, I run my Dremel full blast the whole time. I got a foot pedal. You don't have to have one, but it really makes it easy to on and off like this. Watch this. Okay, so I'm going to go along the whole outside of this carving and probably about that deep. Like, you know, truthfully, you don't even need to carve this. You could get a wood burning pen, which I'm going to show you later, and just wood burn all around it and paint inside of it. But it gives it some more character if you would carve it. So what I'm going to do, like I said, I know I repeat myself, everybody, because sometimes I forget what I'm saying. What I said, that I already said it. I'm going to go along the whole outside here. Be careful with the stock. It's kind of thin. I'm going to go along the whole outside. And then I'm going to remove all this outside wood. So that's the biggest part of the job, is removing the wood to make this rose looks like it's sticking off the piece of wood itself, okay? So let's get started here. You're going to hear my fan running in a bit. Maybe not when I do this, but anyways, carry on. Okay, so you guys can see how that's done. I'll finish the rest, then I'll be back. Okay, so you can see it's cut around the outside, giving it shape. Make sure you take your time and you try and stay as close to the line as you can, because, you know, it just makes it better in the long run. Now I got to remove all this wood. And how can I explain this? When you remove this wood, you just don't want to do one cut here and remove some wood, because then you're going to see a bump there. And that bump makes it look like this has kind of been carved in. So I take my time. I remove lots of this wood. So it's like a slow downhill, right? And you don't see a cut bump. I'm gonna show you an example of what I'm talking about, the cut bump. You can do it. Like I said, this is just my opinion. This is a Kutzall coarse. It's brand new. It's a taper burr. Okay, it's not the extreme. I normally use the extreme burrs, but I think for this one I need to go a bit slower, take my time. So what I'm going to do now is get this burr and see the cut mark there. I'm just going to remove all the wood here down to the cut line. I'll just give you an example. Sooner or later I'm going to turn my fan on. If this is my dust collector table, it sucks the dust in. It's hooked up into a shop vac in the closet. Okay, so you see here, I slowly remove the wood. I still got to remove a lot more of this wood though, so you don't see a cut line there. So this would be a cut bump right here. Let's see if we can get some shadowing here. See that? That's a cut bump. Even right here would still be a cut bump too, because when you sand it and you put your finish on it, you'll see it. You'll see like a square edge right there. So you got to keep on taking the wood back. Okay, so now you look at the shadows, your rose is starting to stick off. So I still have lots more room. I could take this deeper, but I don't think I need to. And inside here, it's just basically, you don't have to carve too deep inside this rose. It's basically just layers. Like if you can think of like dragon scales or fish scales, and finding out which one is higher. Like obviously this petal here that comes, well, the part of the stalk that comes up the rose, that's going to be sticking off farthest from the piece. And this petal sticking off farther than this petal, right? So, but we'll get to that after. How about I do all this removing of this wood? I explain the cut line to you to remove that. Keep on taking off wood. So it's like a slow downhill. And that the more that you do that, the less you'll notice that this wood was removed from this rose. I don't know. You know, when you're doing wood carving with a Dremel, it's really dusty. So it's always good to have a little brush like this where you can dust this stuff off. And yeah, you can get this at the dollar store. So just a suggestion. So this is when you sit back, you kind of have your coffee and you look at the piece. So I'm not a professional wood carver. I don't claim to be. I'm not a perfectionist. So this is when you'll kind of look at your piece, you look at the picture on the wall, and you can try and see if you could see bumps. I could see one up there. Let me see here. If you look at it, the shadows, you can see like a bump there. It's okay. It's okay to have bumps. I'm just showing you guys what I think looks better to get rid of the bumps. At the end of this carving, it might have some bumps. It's not a big deal. So there you can see. I had to remove lots of this wood too to get this to stick out. But let me see if I can show you. It goes on a slow uphill. See that? You just take it slow. I could remove more. Like I can feel it. It sinks in right here. So I could remove more of this wood to get this to stick off better. But I think we're okay now. So now, another thing too, why I use this taper burr, the silver aggressive one, is because it's got the sharper point on it and it's thin, and I can lay my Dremel on its side. I don't know if you guys saw, but I can scrape the wood like this, or you can use this sharp point. So now what we need to do is we need to start making these petals stick off and look more like 2D, more 2D realistic. So I'll finish having some sips of coffee, and then I'll put the camera in the overhead, and we'll do that. Okay, so like I said before, you got to think of this as layers, right? We don't have that much depth, but we don't need that much depth, I don't think. I don't know if this will turn out. I don't care. I'm just showing you guys ideas. So here's your stem down here, and here's your stem petals, or your stem little branch things that come up here. So we need to make this stem seem like it's farther off than the rose, and that rose is inset there, okay? And this petal right here will be the closest to you. So the stem will be the closest first, then it will be this petal. So what I'm going to do with the same burr, I might use this burr for the whole carving. I'm going to cut on the outside of the lines for the stem Okay. Cut here, and then this one's pushed back a little bit, right? This one's like, let's see here. Let's just do it. Like Larry Dibb says, do it to it. Okay, well, we might as well carve these ones in too, these stem pieces. Okay, so that's that. We might as well cut this pedal now. So now in this pedal, you see the cut there, and it's good I like to have my piece so I can move it around and use shadows and different stuff. Anyways, if you see me going to a different area quickly, it's because I see something that's not good and it needs to be fixed, like right in here. Right there inside that branch, that leaf. So now with this pedal, I want to taper it back. You see? I want this point of the pedal to be the highest. We might have to switch to a thinner burr for these other ones, but I want to push this back so these stock leaves are sticking higher than this, but we want to leave this point high so it's sloped back, so it kind of gives you the idea that it's coming out. High point, low point. Okay. So this pedal here will be our next closest to you. So I'm going to go, it kind of gets tricky because you got so much lines here, but I'm going to go like this. Okay, so now I'm going to take down in here, push it deeper, means carve it deeper and leave this high. Okay, so see how it's lower there and it's pushing the top pedals back? I can carve more here, make it kind of round. You can always carve it deeper, right? Okay, so you can see there, now they're starting to stick out, so your pedals are the closest to you. This one's back, it's pushed there. This one's back, it's pushed in. But now, I want to take away this wood here. But I can't because I got to carve my lines in first. So what I'm going to do is because if I start removing this wood, I'm going to remove my lines. So what I'm going to do now is turn back to one of these Chinese aluminum cutters, the smallest one I got, and I'm going to trace out my lines. This rose is it's like I'm not the best at it. I haven't carved that many roses. I'm just trying to show you guys how to carve like 2D. I can see I already made a mistake because I'm looking at the picture on the wall and this leaf needs to be folded over. So let me see how I'm going to fix that. I'll have to push this down, and you just got to try and go with the flow. Okay, so what we need to do is roll this one off. I suggest to pick a rose with the least lines. That's what I suggest. I don't necessarily like carving with these little bits because they're more like chisels and you have to go with the grain. So I kind of, let's see here. Okay, let's just go with the flow. Yeah, I got to switch back to my other burr. Okay, so actually, I decided to use a diamond burr. You can buy these at your Harbor Freight for like 20 for like $10 or something. So you see its little diamonds on here. But just a quick tip, I've said this in lots of my videos for the very beginner Dremel carvers. When you put your burr in, right, you push it in, you pull it out just a little bit. Don't push it in all the way, because if that burr gets stuck in the collet, you can't get it out. But if you push it in and you pull it out just a little bit, then tighten it up, then if that burr gets stuck in there, you can tap it down, like bang, it will push it in and you'll be able to pull it out. And you don't want to leave your burrs like far out, because if you're carving at full speed, you could bend the you could bend it or break it. So, but if you're carving slow speed, like say for example, if you're doing wood spirit eyes and you got real deep inside there, you can pull it out, but just run your Dremel a lot slower. So I just push it in, pull it out just a little bit, tighten it up, and then you're good to go. Okay, so this is less aggressive, so it might take a little while longer. And also, keep looking at your picture on the wall for references, okay? To see which thing is which and which is which. So I'm going to turn it this way. And I know this one is a low point. Keep on looking at your picture. Okay, so I don't know what the hell is going on here, but I think it goes like this. Yeah, this is friggin' nightmare is what it is. Anyways. I don't know what's going on here, but highs and low points, that's what you have to remember. I'll finish this off camera because I'm getting frustrated. Okay, so it's not exactly like the picture, but I think it still represents a rose. So I still got this burr in here. So what I'm going to do is give it a little undercut, okay? I don't have to give it this undercut because I'm going to use my wood burner, but with an undercut, you can get some shadow effects, right? You can see there's a little bit of a shadow here, but really there's some shadows. But with the undercut, again, repeat, you get the shadows. So beware though, when you do an undercut, you're going to have to remove more wood because you're going to get an undercut mark. So let's do it. When I'm doing the undercut, you'll see I'm... So you look at the shadow you already get there. When I'm doing the undercut, you can see I'm not going straight in. I'm holding this Dremel flex shaft as far as angle under there, like this, as I can. Because if you just go like this, you're going to have a bump and then you're going to have lots of wood to remove. If you hold it at a steep angle, you won't have such a bad bump and it will be less wood to remove. at the shadow now. Okay, so I'll finish the undercuts. So all the undercuts, you can see the shadows all the way around it now. See? So like I said, beware when you do your undercuts, then you get that bump. Now I got to go along and put on my other burr, this one here, and spend about another half an hour removing some of this wood so you don't see that bump. If you want to have that bump, it's your piece. You can do whatever you want to do. You know, when you got a piece of the carving here and here, take as much wood as you can in between the two, like between in here, because that's where you really see a bump, you know. So if you remove it flat inside there, you can get no bump, I say, no bump. Okay, so this is where I stop and look at my carving again. Most of the bumps are gone. You're going to get some. Who cares? I don't know why I'm so infatuated with that. So, you know, let's see here. This, and this is one petal. You can see it wraps over there and it folds over here. So that kind of looks like it. I could have made it a little bit more here. Same with this one. You know, so what I need to do here, I need to cut this deeper right where the tip of the pencil is and make it look like this one's folding over. So I'm going to do that off camera, and then it's time to pull out the wood burner. Okay, so this wood burner is a cheap Chinese one. It's in my Amazon store too. I've been using it a while. I haven't used it in a long time, but I'm heavy on stuff. This handpiece is big. It's got lots of foam there and never overheats because, well, you get the smaller ones and they heat up. You have to put them down because I burn at the highest temperature I can burn at. It takes a little bit longer to warm up. So you can see this goes in here. And I hope it still works. Maybe it don't. We'll see. Okay, so, you know, you can do your undercuts with this. Ben's Studio on the Lake does it, and I believe Just Carve Rob does it too. So all you do is just kind of, I'm going to give it a thick burn on the outside of the piece. What I'm going to do first is go around the whole outside of the piece and get a nice deep burn in there. And like I said, there's different burners. You can buy a good expensive one. Ben's is expensive. I have one of the most expensive ones actually. It's the razor tip. And actually, I kind of preferred this one over that. So you don't have to have an expensive one. Just Carve Rob has the razor tip, and he liked his cheap Chinese one that he got off Amazon better than his razor tip. The razor tip's more for like people draw. It's called, what's it called? Pyrography. People draw pictures and use the wood burner for shading and stuff like that. I think that's what the razor tip's for. You can buy different pens. Don't get me wrong, like my razor tip, I still like it, but I'm just so heavy on things. I just, well, long story short is I break things. So these petals, I pushed them back a bit from the stock. Give it a burn there and make it look separated, right? So how about I get all this outside burnt and I'll come back and we'll talk about doing in here. Okay, so you can see there I got all the outside done. So for the inside, I'm just going to kind of follow what's happening. So this is the highest point, then second highest, then over here. So it's just kind of going with the flow. This it acts like I said already, as an undercut too. And Just Carve Rob loves the wood burn his pieces. Just Carve Rob's got a YouTube channel, everybody. Just search Just Carve Rob. He likes to use this when he's painting his pieces because, so this isn't going to have paint here, but all this is going to be painted, okay? So when you put the paint on here, when you burn it inside here, it acts like a ditch and it doesn't let, or stain, but basically paint, it stops the paint from rolling off onto here. It's like a ditch or some kind of magical, mystical, just carve rob thing. So that needs to come off over here. Now, this is where you look at your picture, and I see that this pedal needs to be higher than this one, so I'll go like this. It is carved higher. You just can't really see in the video. Okay, so where does it fold over? Yeah, you can see it's folded over right there. So it's just basically going along with what you've carved, I guess. Got a little pedal sticking out here. And the wood burning does give it a special effect when you're doing your painting. You might not even see it, but it does. It's there. Okay, so I'll get this done. And then, oops, went off the line a bit. I'll be back. Okay, so all the wood burning's basically done. Now I got to figure out how to sand inside here. So this is a Mandrel. Turn your Dremel nice and low for this because you'll fry your Dremels. This is a Mandrel that Peter Blair sells. I don't know if he sells them anymore. I haven't spoke to him in a while, but if you want to look him up on Facebook, it's Peter Blair. You'll see you probably have lots of mutual friends. And this is Scotch Brite. You know, you can do this with your hand, whatever you want to do. So, but I'm going to use this, and this will get rid of the extra wood burning too. Like it kind of leaves a residue or something. Okay, so there's that. Now we want to think about how we're going to sand all this because it's scuffed up. But before I sand that, lots of you don't have Fordhams. I have a Fordham. A Fordham is a bigger carver. Okay, so this is your Dremel. This is your Fordham. It's a bigger tool. It holds 1/4-inch bits. This holds 1/8 bits. What I want to do, because I don't just want the outside to be plain, it just kind of looks too square to me. So I'm going to get the Fordham, and I'm going to make some round divots around here, and I'll have to get a wood burner. I don't know if I have one here. I might have to go to my chainsaw shop and get it and burn it, and it's going to give it some extra textures. Okay, so all the edging's done. You know, when I was doing that, the thing slipped and it hit my finger. It kind of like, what is it? Like a bit cauterizes it. So for all you beginning carvers that want to use the Dremel or get a Fordham or whatever, and you want to get gloves, we just tape it up here at Carving Fusion, carry on. But if you want to get gloves, I don't suggest like cloth gloves. I suggest like smooth leather gloves, because these bits, let's see here, like, where's an aggressive one? Right here. This is a Kutzall 1/4-inch. These bits, if this hits the glove, it's going to get caught on the glove and it could snap your finger. So if you have good, strong leather gloves, if it hits it, it will just slide off it and scuff up the leather. So there's just another tip for the very beginner. So I don't have my wood burner here. I'm going to have to go to my chainsaw carving shop. That's okay, though. I got to go pack up to go to the island too. I said I'm not going to do any carving when I'm there, but who knows? I'm going to take some carving gear with me anyways. But so this is the same Mandrel. Now it's got sandpaper on it. Okay, this is Emery Cloth. I get mine at KMS Tools. So Emery Cloth is the it's got cloth on the back. If you use just regular sandpaper, it will just rip and not work good and break. And if you use the belt sanders, the thicker, harder sandpaper and cut it up into little squares. It's pretty firm and it can leave some scrapes in your wood. So I'm going to sand this up, and then I'm going to head over to my chainsaw carving station and we'll do some wood burning. Okay, so what my chainsaw carving shop area, there's the board. Here's a propane torch with a torch head, and I got my I brought my Emery Scotch-Brite to clean up the burn on a Dremel. So there's just a little clip. I'd burn around the whole edge. You guys don't need to see the whole thing. Then I'm Scotch-Briting it, cleaning it up. And you'll see after here, well, I might as well just wait till we get to that point. I know I'm always rushing. So there's the burn. So I'm going to burn a bit closer to the rows. And it'll just kind of, I don't know, just try to give different features and stuff like that. Make it kind of white, brighter around the rows, I guess you could say. And then I'll have to hit it with my Scotch-Brite again and clean it. I think any beginner can do this. The main part that you have to really focus on is removing the wood. At the end of this carving, I noticed I really didn't make the effort to. Well, I did, but I didn't, but I did, but I didn't, but I did, but I did, but I didn't remove the wood. I think it was the sander, the flap sander, that made that dents in the wood. I'm happy with the way it turned out. Anyways, carry on. Alright, now back from the chainsaw shop. I got some crackers and cheese. I got a Carving Fusion paint tray. I got some dollar store Christmas deep red. I got some Hooker's green, my favorite paint color ever, and some yellow. So I think what I'm going to do first is paint the rows red. Excuse me if you hear me eating the crackers. But all you do is just paint it red. Finish eating the crackers. I know just Carve Rob waters down his paints. I don't water down my paints. Why don't I water down my paints? Well, I just don't. That's not what I do. I gotta flip it over, make sure you get all the areas. Make sure you get everywhere. And the next thing we'll do is we'll move on to the green. There's the rows painted. Okay, so I went to the dollar store, that's why I got those crackers and cheese, to buy some green paint because this is the only green I have. And well, I spent 40 bucks and I forgot to paint. Isn't that the way it goes? This is a better quality paint that Ben's Studio on the Lake. Guys, he has a YouTube channel. He's been busy. He hasn't really made any videos lately. But he's got some really knowledgeable stuff too. Great wood carver. And painter. He's an acrylic painter too. So he's an all-around artist. He's got that other channel for acrylic painting. And I got another channel too. It's called Let Art Find You, where I do some painting kind of. Ben does like a kind of talk through thing, and I follow along and try to do his paintings. But I can't paint anywhere near as good as him. So I think what I'm going to do is just paint this stock green. Move your piece around in different lightings too, because you can't really see it all if you move it in different lightings, then you'll see what you've missed. So why I got the yellow out too is because, well, when I paint these leaves green, I can put some yellow in there and kind of make them a different color from the stock altogether. So how about I get this stock painted and then we'll put some yellow on these leaves. Now I remember why Just Carve Rob dilutes his paint with water, because it runs easier and it gets in the cracks and stuff. That's correct. Carry on, my friends, carry on. Okay, so here's yellow on the carving fusion paint tray. Put some yellow in here to just offset the leaves a bit from the stalk. I'm thinking that rose looks a little bit too plain. We all have our different styles at things we do. So I think I might give it another wood burn. Okay, so you can see the leaves now. Let's put some yellow down the stalk too to give it some little highlights. Nice touch of bright yellow here. Just or another thing you could do too is you get some black and you can go on the lines and paint it black and do some shading. So, oops, got some green there. That's okay. Okay, so here it is so far. So, oh, I also signed it with that with the burning pen, since my other thing didn't work too good. I kind of, when I did my roses when I used to paint, God help me, I used to put little white kind of lines on them just to kind of give them highlights. It's just kind of what I do. So all I'm doing is just kind of just giving a little tiny bit. There's a little hair in here. It's sticking out. It's pissing me off. So I'm just giving it a little tiny, just, and this thing's, I got to get rid of this little tiny hair sticking off here. Got it. So you guys that are getting up there in age, do you kind of like, I'm bald. I was going bald when I was 20 something. But do you realize the older that you get, the more hair grows on your ears? Yeah, like in the perfect direction of the light, you get it, like you'll see, like all of a sudden you got like a bunch of ear hair. It's like, what the hell's up with that? So that just a little, just gives it a little bit more character. I don't know. It's just kind of what I do. Some of you might be thinking I'm ruining the piece, but if you don't take chances, then how are you going to know? And we'll put a little bit down here. Maybe just a little bit over here. You could even put a little bit on the stalk if you want. Oops, I went off track there. I think that's it for this one. We'll just have to talk about what we're going to finish it with. And we're going to use Modge Podge. Yes, let's put a little bit more down here. Bob Ross, just a little touch. Maybe some up here to give it a moving accent. I don't know. I'll shut up. Okay, so it's been sitting a few hours. And I think it's ready for Modge Podge. There's some weird cuts in there, like see that dent there? When you use that flap sander too, it doesn't sand perfectly flat. So just remember that. Like it can leave dents in the wood, like right here, down here, and over here. It doesn't matter, right? as long as you're having a good time. So let's this Modge Podge. This is just Carve. Rob uses this stuff a lot. I like it. It's this is gloss and it's water based. What I'm going to do is I'm going to pour it into this cup. I got this little brush and start Modge Podging it. This is when the colors are really going to pop, and this part here is going to darken up, and then this, like this, will go darker, and this will stay light, and everything will pop. Okay, so when you use this Modge Podge stuff, if you've never used it before, I think it's better if you don't put it on too thick, because if you do put it on too thick, it's not going to, man, this is going to be a real son of a gun to do all in here. If you put it on too thick, it's not going to dry clear. And this stuff dries fast. Yes, it does. I'm going to try and do the whole wood part first, and then I'll come back and do the flower after. Okay. So just spread it out as thin as it can go, and you're better off using several coats than one thick coat. Trust me. But then again, I'm no Modge Podge pro. Maybe you want to message Just Carve Rob and ask him about Modge Podge. He likes answering questions. Just kidding. Okay, so see how fast that's already drying? And you don't want to really go over it too much when it's dry, because then you get like these snot clumps. Well, Modge Podge clump things. So how about I get this Modge Podge on here? I just thought it would be the perfect finish for this piece. I'll get this Modge Podge on around the base, and then we'll do the flower. All right, everybody. So that's going to be it on this one. And John, I hope it really helps you. And like I said throughout the video, the more of this wood that you remove, you won't see those dip lines. Like, I could have carved a lot more of this wood away up here and around here. So you can see up there, you know, maybe a gloss finish wasn't the best. Like, for example, you can see this bump right there. Doesn't matter. Just have fun. So, John, if you're struggling with yours, or you can't get the proper tools, I don't have a problem sending you this one. You do volunteer work for brain injury people, and I think it's great that you do that. So if you don't want to get the tools and stuff to do it the way I did it, and you want this one to put, you said you might make a ghost frame. And by the way, everybody, it's for one of the people at the rehabilitation center. I believe their wife died, and they want a rose to look at so they can be reminded of their wife. So that's why John wanted to carve a rose and gift it to the person. And they said they're going to make a shadow box for it too. So John, if you want this one, just send me a message. I don't have a problem sending it to you. You're in Ontario. You do good things for people by volunteering, so it might be nice to send this to you, and giving back, right? That's what this channel's about. Okay. All right, everybody. Take care. Carving Fusion. Over and out.